just about to unplug, having rapid charged at the Lidl charger on the M18. New charger, it doesn't even show up on the PodPoint app. Thank you for joining me on my commute down to Coventry this morning. It's just going to be a random chat really whilst driving. Hopefully we won't get too many interruptions, and it's going to be a case of probably more driving than chat in some ways, unless obviously you guys decide to actually pose me some questions as we're going down. I'm in the Ioniq Electric today, so let's see how it performs in terms of miles per kilowatt hour. The temperature outside is 0. Feel like temperature is -3, and yeah, it's at least it's dry. I've got 97 miles to go, got 121, so I've got about 24 miles capacity to get down to Coventry with, and going to have a nice steady drive down, which is what I do. For those of you who've watched the channel before, you'll know that's my flow, that's my style of how I do different things, etc. So yeah, I'm just going to unplug now. Still amazing the look you get when you actually unplug your car from a charger, and people just look at you as they pull up in their little white polos as if to say. I'm going to switch over to Apple CarPlay. I've got the heat set to 21. The automatic demist is off. It's not my favourite thing to have featured on the car, I have to say. And away we go. Apologies to the cameraman, might move just a little bit. I'm trying to still get this right. So this is junction 3 of the M18 that you go off. There's a huge Amazon warehouse. If you're coming from the northeast, there's a huge Amazon warehouse on the left hand side. If you're coming from the southwest, it's on the right hand side, and you would go right at the junction. As you can see, there's a bit of roadworks going on. It's obviously going to be future development here. And at this precise moment, it's just really the Amazon warehouse that's there, and also a very handy Lidl with a PodPoint charger that's so new, it's not even on the PodPoint system, so you can't see, unfortunately, whether it's in use or occupied. It does have CCS, it also has Type 2, and it also has CHAdeMO. And just whilst we're on, actually, I'd just like to say something about PodPoint. Everybody likes to beat the charging company up, don't they? These chargers that are in, there's one over at the other Lidl in Bentley near Doncaster, and about 3 weeks ago I was there, and unfortunately the store had been basically vandalised, and the charger as well, just the evening before, and as a result of that, the charger was actually covered in like a black creosote sort of substance. It was not pleasant at all. So you couldn't actually see the display, and indeed some of the charging cables as well had been painted on. Everything functioned, and because of familiarity with these ABT chargers that I've now got over the last 6 months of driving the Ioniq, it actually didn't really make any difference to me, other than it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience, and nor could I see how much I was charging on the screen there. And I'm obviously reliant on the screen inside the car, which of course is absolutely fine. But log that in with PodPoint. Fair play to Lidl. When I spoke to the manager at Lidl, or the duty managers there, he told me exactly what had happened with the local youth, unfortunately, and they too had reported it to PodPoint to make sure it was checked over to safe to operate, which they'd done remotely, and it was confirmed it was still safe to operate. And actually went there last night. Sadly, the store's been broken into 2 more times in this week, and unfortunately that meant there's no external lighting in the car park. However, there's a brand new charger there. So well done PodPoint for listening to a customer bringing you an alert, and also responding to that. No doubt insurance, I'm sure red light means stop, doesn't it? I'm sure insurance will have covered the cost of the charger, but you haven't hung about, PodPoint. Well done. You've actually got the charger replaced by the look of it, and yeah, seriously impressed. So well done, well done. How's your morning commute going? I always find it quite interesting with morning commutes how people love to, 1, use their horn, and 2, be in a complete and utter rush, essentially to get to somewhere they don't want to be. If we had £1 million, is there any of us that would really want to go to work? Or would we like to sit at home and, well, not sit at home, or would you like to actually get in our electric cars and just explore everywhere? I definitely would do the latter. So if it's a case of you could explore everywhere with your £1 million sitting in your bank, etc., why wouldn't you do that? Now obviously the majority of people are not in that position, and we've got a society and a culture which dictates we have to work. I completely get that. Completely get that. But do you know what? It's it really is just so sad that people have to drive like complete. Just want to bring us up to date on range at the moment. Actually got 95 miles to go, and I've got 112 mile range. So I've actually got 17 mile capacity. I think I made a mistake earlier and said I got 24, and that was actually 14. I think my maths needs to improve somewhat. So yeah, 17 mile capacity. I've reset the miles per kilowatt hour for this journey. This morning I was getting 4.2 miles per kilowatt on the first 25 miles. So I got to the Lidl charger with a nice warm battery. That's hammered it, but within the speed limits from home, and around about 80% battery to the charger there, so I had a decent charging speed, which indeed I've had. This car has laid dormant really for the last week because I've been abroad in Malta, and hence there hasn't been too many videos of late. It's been my 21st birthday again, and you know, basically freezing temperatures over here whilst being away. And I did an interesting thing actually with the Ioniq yesterday, because it was showing me that I had 1% of battery to actually just floor it to get away from the 70-mile-an-hour creepers. Yeah, basically it showed me I had 93% battery. I still would need to charge for a further 8 minutes at one point. That then quickly declined to 4 minutes and then went to 0, all within the space of a few seconds. So I think it's just the car readjusting to actually having somebody drive it in these temperatures. And then when I got down to Coventry, was able to basically charge it there on a 7 kilowatt post, my normal charger there, and yeah, that was really good, really no problem whatsoever. Charged up in about 3 hours 50 minutes and 200%. And indeed last night, I started off with 124 miles range to do a 116-mile journey, so I had 8 capacity, but to be honest, I actually, by the time I'd have got home, I would have had 13. I could have done it in a one shot, no charging at all, but I needed to stop anyway to use the bathroom, so I did grab some electricity just briefly, and got to explore that other, the new charger at the other Lidl in Doncaster. So, yeah, it's so sad, isn't it? You just get some mindless people that decide that they don't want, or they're jealous of, the nice big shiny supermarket supplying their community out. They'd rather have a pokey backstreet co-op or pokey backstreet corner shop, and they see Lidl as a target in the community, and yet it's employing, it's employing other people in their community, and Lidl's had to lay 2 people off because of all the self-service tills that basically have been taken out yesterday because they were vandalised in this week's robbery, and they got nothing. All they did was cause damage. They got absolutely nothing. Talking to the staff last night, they just don't know what to do. And the really sad thing is that one can imagine that Lidl are actually going to turn around and just go, well, do you know what? You don't want us here. Why should we be here? Let's sell the land and let somebody else have it. Depending on whether that's actually their land or not, or if it's leased from the council. Chances are it's leased from the council. Yeah. Bizarre how some people function, it really is. So, okay, so let's talk about the Ioniq a little bit. I'm recording this on the 29th of January? Yeah, 29th of January. It's just about 10 to 9 in the morning. And basically I'm on the M18 heading towards the M1 at 1 degree Celsius. The Ioniq Electric is, now there's the Kona out now, there's the Ioniq coming out, and I'll be testing those soon, I hope. I keep saying that, and I keep probing the garages to get hold of demonstrators, etc., but not happening just yet, unfortunately. But basically the Ioniq, I think, is a superb vehicle. You've got, in this sort of temperature, around about 125 miles to 130 miles range, and you basically are quite safe to use. Good. Thanks, Stud. Have a safe trip. Appreciate that. See your message there. Yeah, it really is, the vehicle for these sort of temperatures. And what I mean by that is, if you're sort of new to electric vehicle driving, what I've seen as an internal combustion engine driver is actually lots of Nissan Leafs, particularly the older generation with fogged up windows. I'm sure you've seen them. And basically they're driving around, saving the battery power to go as far as they can. And we know that there's no sort of active heating on the battery. Now, fans and active heating in the Ioniq, it's a little bit different. It's not like the Tesla or indeed the Kona that has the liquid cooled. And I think it's important to mention with the Kona, liquid cooled battery system. Okay, what you've got with the Ioniq is you've got a fan that does do some cooling, which I have to be honest, I've heard probably twice in 6 months while it's been charging after a fairly long motorway drive on a rapid charger. And you've also got vents underneath the rear seat which take the cabin temperature and run that air across the battery surface. So what you're actually getting there is, if you like, active heating, active cooling, just like you're actively heating and cooling yourself. And the best way to get the best out of the battery on the Ioniq, I have to say, I've found through numerous tests, is actually don't be one of these people driving around with fogged up windows. Get yourself nice and warm, precondition the car, get it to about 21, 22 degrees, because that seems to be the temperature that the battery functions best at, and get the cabin pre-warmed, set the timer. There's a video elsewhere on my videos about setting the timer for preconditioning, so feel free to have a look at that. And then when you actually get in the car, yeah, sure, you'll see the range says, oh, you've got 127 miles at 100%. Doing that sort of length of journey like I do every day, that actually you can charge up somewhere like I've just done right at the very start of the video. So all you need to do is basically stick the heat on to where you're comfortable. And I would suggest 21 degrees in the Ioniq. I don't know why. I've always found in other cars with other climate control systems that actually I'm comfortable at 19, 20 degrees, but in the Ioniq, 21. Not quite sure why that is. Don't know if that's due to residual heat from internal combustion engine, or just, you know, you'd imagine the electronics, 21 degrees is 21 degrees, but hey, I can only speak for the Ioniq in that case, and 21 degrees is literally, you know, a really comfortable temperature. I've got my jacket basically undone. I've not got a scarf around my neck or woolly hat on or anything like that. My windows are lovely and clear. I must admit, I don't bother with the automatic demist system. Again, there's another video on my page that actually shows you how to disable the automatic demist system, because I find that just draws too much current and the window doesn't need demisting. If you keep the cabin warm, you've no need for it. No need whatsoever. So yeah, keep the cabin warm, keep yourself warm, and indeed, because of those slats underneath the rear seat, you'll keep the battery warm as well, which means it will function at the best possible temperature so that you can do your journey and get the most energy out of it without it basically using energy to try and keep itself warm. We've now done 14 miles from where I've just rapid charged, and I'm doing 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, and I have basically the uphill section, which I was rambling through, of the M18 there as we've joined the M1. That's the bit that really kills the battery. Average before, as I say, was 4.2 miles per kilowatt. Sorry if you've been watching the stream right from the very beginning, you might think, well, why is he repeating this? But we've got people joining the stream as we go. No doubt you can see at the moment there's 2 of you, but obviously people come and go. So again, I'll probably just repeat myself a little bit, and I'm sorry for that. Well, I hope that sort of helps people. And I don't know about you, but when I'm watching Bjorn Nyland do his videos, and if you haven't seen Tesla Bjorn on YouTube, you must go see his videos. He does.
You haven't seen Tesla Bjorn on your iPhone.
Okay, so sorry, my watch just decided to talk to me for some reason. Yeah, if you haven't seen Tesla Bjorn on on YouTube on the videos, then you must see them. They're amazing. He recently did some live streams, and I'd encourage you to subscribe to the live stream channel that he has as well, because basically what he does with those live streams is you see him basically traveling around Norway, and Norway is beautiful, especially in the weather that they're experiencing at the moment with all the snow. And I understand we're due possibly a little bit of snow this afternoon as well. But his videos are fantastic. He's extremely knowledgeable, and I would definitely recommend those. So we're currently streaming on Streamlabs for those of you that are in the know about these things. This is the first time I've used Streamlabs. I usually use the YouTube app. One of the things which I'm finding quite good with this is when you guys send a message, it's actually popping up on my screen and it's staying on my screen, so I've got time to read it. With the YouTube app and your live streaming, what actually happens is that the message appears and then it disappears just as you're about to finish reading it, and then you end up sadly ignoring people, which is the last thing I want to do. So I can see we've got 2 of you watching. So the last time I streamed around about this time of day, there was a couple of you from Australia watching, which yeah, that's pretty impressive, the way the world works now with technology. So yeah, if you can just let me know in the comments where you're from, that would be good to know. Ashford in Kent. Excellent. Yeah, there's a place I've visited before with work. I actually work in healthcare, so yeah, that's good. It's hopefully going to become a little bit of a sunny Yorkshire today, although I'm heading to West Midlands, Coventry, as I was mentioning. Okay. Interesting comment just popped up there from Helen. Yeah. I find it quite strange. People don't have anything nice to say. Why say it? Oh dear. Gosh, here to put insulting messages on. Remember your name. Okay, folks, unfortunately, because of this very strange person who is putting messages on the live feed, I'm actually going to stop, unfortunately, because this is beyond the bounds of sensibility and decency, which is a real shame, but never mind. Helen, whoever you are, have a great life. I wish you well. What a shame to spoil it for other people.